Possession isn't always spinning heads and Hollywood theatrics. Sometimes, it's subtle. It creeps into your life so slowly that by the time you realize you're not in control anymore, it's too late. These are some of the most terrifying true stories of possession, stories that prove something else might be living inside of us. Story number 1, The Silent Roommate. When I first moved into my college dorm, I thought I got lucky. My roommate never showed up. The bed across from mine stayed empty, and for weeks, I had the space all to myself. But then things started happening. At first, it was little things, waking up to find my desk chair moved, my pens scattered, my laptop open when I was sure I'd closed it. Then I started waking up at weird hours, 3 or 4 a.m., with my sheets tangled around my legs and my body sore, like I'd been walking in my sleep. One night, I woke up standing in the middle of the room. My back hurt, and my feet were dirty, like I'd been walking outside. That's when I noticed the other bed. The sheets, which had been neatly folded by the university when I moved in, were messy. Used. And someone was lying in it. I froze. My eyes adjusted to the dark, and I swore I saw a shape under the blankets. A head. A body. I tried to convince myself I was imagining it, but the next morning, the sheets were neatly tucked again. Like nothing had happened. The following week, my friends said I looked exhausted. My voice was hoarse, my skin pale. I brushed it off as stress. Until my roommate across the hall said he heard me talking at night. Full conversations. Deep, guttural words he couldn't understand. I lived alone. The final straw was when I woke up to find a note on my desk. My handwriting. But I hadn't written it. It said, "Thanks for letting me stay. I'll take the nights. You keep the days." Story number 2, The Demon in the Hospital Ward. I've worked as a nurse for over 15 years. I've seen death, sickness, and suffering, but nothing like what I saw in the locked ward. We had a patient brought in, a 22-year-old woman. No history of mental illness. She had been found in her apartment, screaming, clawing at the walls, and speaking in a language no one recognized. At first, the doctors thought it was psychosis. But nothing explained the things she did in that hospital room. She hadn't eaten in days, but she had the strength of 3 grown men. It took 6 orderlies to pin her down when she thrashed. She'd scream in voices that weren't hers. Sometimes a child's giggle, sometimes a man's growl. The scariest part was the eyes. They weren't just dilated, they were pitch black. One night, I was doing rounds when I heard her whispering. I pressed my ear to the door and realized she was whispering my name. Over and over. When I opened the door, she was standing on the ceiling. Barefoot. Her head twisted at an impossible angle. She dropped onto the bed with a snap and laughed. Not her laugh. Something inhuman. We had priests come. They blessed the room. They read prayers. She convulsed and screamed until blood poured from her nose. And then, silence. The next morning, she was gone. Her restraints were snapped. The window was locked from the inside. And all that remained on her bedsheet were 3 words, written in blood, "I found you." Story number 3, The Man in the Cornfield. I grew up on a farm in Iowa. My younger brother, Jake, was 5 years old when he started talking about the man in the cornfield. At first, we thought it was an imaginary friend. He'd wave at the fields and whisper like someone was answering him back. He even left food outside for the man. But then Jake started changing. He wouldn't eat at the table anymore. He'd sit on the porch at night, staring into the corn. Sometimes I'd wake up and see him standing by the window, lips moving like he was talking to someone I couldn't see. One night, I followed him. He walked barefoot into the rows of corn, deeper and deeper, until we reached the scarecrow. Only, it wasn't the scarecrow. It was a man. Tall, dressed in rags, his skin pale as the moon. His eyes were nothing but dark pits. Jake held out his hand. The man reached for it. I screamed and pulled Jake back. But for weeks after, Jake wasn't the same. His voice would drop mid-sentence into something low and rumbling. His drawings were violent, people with black eyes and broken bodies. One morning, my mom found him in the barn, crouched in the corner, whispering in a language none of us knew. On the wall, scratched into the wood, were the words, "He's mine now." We moved off that farm within the month. But every fall, when the corn grows tall, Jake starts to act strange again. Story number 4, The Black Diary. When I was 16, I found an old diary in the attic of our house. The cover was black leather, and it smelled of smoke. Inside were pages filled with symbols and strange handwriting. I thought it was cool at first. Creepy, but cool. That night, I dreamed of a woman with no face. She whispered to me from the shadows, and when I woke up, the diary was open on my desk, on a page that read, "Read me aloud." I tried. The words made my mouth burn. But something inside me liked it. The more I read, the more things started happening. Doors slammed on their own. My dog wouldn't come near me. I'd catch myself writing in the diary, even though I didn't remember doing it. One morning, my mom screamed. She found me standing in the kitchen, carving symbols into the table with a knife. My eyes rolled back. I don't remember any of it. But I remember waking up that night to find the diary in bed with me. Pages flipping on their own. The last page was blank. And slowly, in red ink, words appeared on the page. "You belong to me now." I burned the diary the next morning. But sometimes, I still smell smoke when I sleep. Story number 5, The Unfinished Exorcism. I'm not a priest anymore. I left after what happened. There was a boy, 13 years old. His family swore he was possessed. He'd wake up with scratches, speak in voices, even throw furniture across the room. I'd done exorcisms before. I thought I was prepared. I wasn't. The moment I entered the room, the boy's head snapped toward me. His smile stretched unnaturally wide. And he spoke my name. Not Father. Not Sir. My full name. The one only my mother used. The ritual began. Holy water sizzled on his skin like acid. He screamed, then laughed. The room shook. Pictures fell from the walls. Hours passed. The boy vomited black liquid. His voice shifted between his own, a woman's, and something monstrous. And then, he stopped struggling. He went limp. Silent. I thought it was over. But then he whispered, in a voice that chilled my soul, "I'm not leaving. I'm just waiting." He smiled, and then, nothing. The family swore he was better. He acted normal for weeks. But I couldn't shake the feeling. And I was right. Because months later, I woke in the middle of the night to hear that same voice, in my own bedroom. Still waiting. That was the last exorcism I ever attempted. Possession doesn't always end when the prayers stop. Sometimes, the thing inside never truly leaves. It just hides, waiting for its chance to come back. So the next time you hear a voice that isn't yours, whispering in the dark, ask yourself one question: is it really in your head? Or is something else already living there?